Hi everybody, the Mature Simmer here. So I'm bringing you some breaking news here. We've been talking about generational farming with FSN, if you've been following the standard FSN series I've had on the channel. But it is just about here. And a few hours ago we had the rules drop. It is December 6th. Generational farming is going to begin on the 9th. So I want to walk you through what we're dealing with so you understand and can hopefully be as excited as I am for this to get going in a few days. So hello farmer. If you're here reading this, it means that you're joining or considering joining our brand new farming adventure known as generational farming. What is generational farming? Generational farming is a new and innovative way to challenge yourself, make new friends, and compete for glory. You will start off as a first-generation farmer looking to build your farming empire. You've saved up $250,000 and want to make a go of it. It won't be easy, but it will be a journey. So all we've got is that money to get going with. We're not allowed to do anything additional from the funds that we've generated in FSN outside of that. What to expect? Your first year, you'll be granted $250,000. Using these funds, along with a potential bank loan, you must fund your first homestead operation. You will have to buy land and equipment using these funds. All land will belong to NPC and is purchasable at any point by any farm on the map. However, you will never know how many years you have left to farm on that map, so keep this in mind. So initially we've been told that this first generation is going to be 2 to 10 farm years. So we know at a minimum it's going to be 2, but it looks like we're going to have to make decisions and potentially be careful with investments based on how long we may be on the map and not knowing exactly what that is. Initial land is round robin based on our initial list of players on your map. It is possible your group will change during a new generation based on more or less farmers participating. Now, my understanding is the round-robin selection is going to be based on the order we signed up, so I'm not entirely sure, where exactly I'll end up in my group, but obviously as I get going, we'll see what happens there. This is a pilot program, meaning it will be getting developed over several months and won't likely be a finished product until sometime in late 2023 or early 2024. And there are a lot of planned additions that we will be informing you about as they happen. You will have a generational farm company on the website within the first generation, but you will not be able to do much at it initially. At the end of each generation, which would mean the 2 to 10 game years, not at the end of each game year, you'll decide how much money to put into investments on the site. These are unique investments for generational farmers only, and you will have to decide how much to put into investments and which ones, how much to put towards retirement, and how much to put back into your next generation of farming. The goal is at the end of the generational cycles to be the farm that has accrued the most retirement and investment wealth. It looks like the measure here is really going to have less to do with what happens on the server, per se, other than in the way that it allows you to generate cash to put into investments and retirement. Winners of the generational competition will receive a tangible prize, mug, shirt, etc., signifying their win, as well as a trophy for the website. This first generational farming competition is expected to run 7 to 10 generations of maps, each map lasting as little as 2 game years or as long as 10. This, along with the planned random events, including crop infestations of certain crops, animal diseases, and more challenges, will help ensure every farmer is making unique and varied decisions to try to achieve the top place in the generational farming world. The rules. The following rules are to be adhered to by all generational farmers. This is a simple 3-strike policy. Rules will be enforced by your fellow competitors and by spot audits from the admin team. First infraction will be a fine, the second infraction will be a more substantial fine and an ongoing penalty for a period of time, and the third infraction will result in disqualification from the generational competition, either for the comp or for all, depending on severity. We ask that you truly adhere to all of these and play not only in the spirit of play we endorse at FSN, but remember this is a friendly and fun competition and it should be won or lost fairly. There is no real joy in a victory falsely earned. Honor your competitors, your friends, and yourself, as well as the staff pouring in hours to make this unique experience possible for all of you. There is absolutely no player assistance. This means even if you are farming on the same map as a friend, they cannot participate in the farm with you. You can bounce ideas off one another, give advice, or be supportive, but you cannot work on another player's farm for them or they for you. This includes other players or non-competition players. So unlike other things in FSN, we're clearly not going to be able to use contractors of any kind. This is going to then play into how much time people have to put in, which, it is something I've been open about in discussing this on my other series. I'm going to do what I can, but I'm not sure that I have the time that some of the other players have, but I'm certainly going to do my best. Every player is allowed to have one AI worker at any given time working on their farm. They can be used for any task, but you are limited to one at a time at any time. So this is also a deviation from FSN normally. We are normally not allowed to do any kind of automation or any farm assistance, so this is unique to generational farming for sure. There are no rules about minimum care for animals. Each player may have up to 4 animal structures and 5 production buildings. Customs are not allowed unless explicitly granted for a generation. This will be noted to you and will be a new availability on the site when and if allowed. So yeah, we'll only be able to sell crops and do that type of work in-game at this point is what it looks like. Random event results are final and cannot be changed. Good or bad, whatever happens to your farm or others is the will of the random number generator. So roll with the good and the bad. All FSN rules regarding server stability remain in place. We have tried our best to limit maps to 4 to 5 farms, and each farm can have up to 40 pieces of equipment between tractors, trailers, etc. The same applies for bales and pallets. Keep them as a minimum as possible for the courtesy of your fellow players. We will not strictly enforce this, but there will be penalties if a server has issues and a player is neglecting these guidelines. So the guidelines are a standard FSN rule, but certainly in the beginning, when we only have the initial 250,000 to start, I don't really think we're going to be having any opportunity to run against the number of pieces of equipment. Certainly if we're on the map for 10 game years, perhaps, but I don't think this is going to come into play too quickly. At the end of each generation, the entirety of your farm must be liquidated. There are no exceptions and no carry-over equipment unless in some special event that will be noted. You can decide how much funding will go to what for the next generation. There is no financial assistance to other players and no loans allowed other than through the in-game NPC loan system. All loans must be repaid in full at the end of a generation and will be taken out of your end sum total, which will then be transferred to the site for you to decide how much to put into what. Investments can only be made at the end of each generation. Some investments will allow you to pull funding and change investments between generations. Some are lifelong or multiple iteration that you cannot change each generation, so choose carefully between risk and reward. As with all things in FSN, there will be no bad-mouthing or down-talking to your fellow players. Respect everyone, the golden rule. Players can opt to share equipment. However, as said before, you cannot give or take financially, so you will have to incur the repair, upkeep, fuel cost of lending your equipment to another player. So yeah, we'll have to keep track of that. Usually most people do to some degree. But a lot of times the repair and so forth, if I borrow equipment from someone, for example, goes on them, and unless they choose to charge me for it, in regular FSN, that isn't something that we're dealing with. So this is a little bit different there, but nothing substantial. All administrative decisions are final and will be done with as much objectivity as possible for every situation. Any situation that comes up that is not covered in the above rules will be subject to this arbitration to the best of our abilities. All rules are subject to change. Any change will be posted with a minimum 1-week notice and announcement, unless a change is required to be immediate to prevent an issue exploit. You will be contacted on the morning of December 9th, at which time it will be the first day of spring on your server, and you will be able to purchase your land and begin farming. Throughout the process, staff will be in contact with you. We highly encourage players to share their journeys with their fellow farmers and with the entire community by posting images and blurbs in the in-game story media channel, so hopefully more people over time will join in this style of competition that adds new fun and helps to keep the lights on. The more people who participate, the more time and effort we can pour into making this unique experience even more so. Good luck, farmers. So yeah, definitely interested and excited to be participating in this and seeing how this goes. Absolutely doing what the last paragraph suggested, is sharing the journey. I've been kind of waiting for this to begin, given the depth of information here, rather than tie up the beginning of the official first episode. I just decided to kind of toss this out there and also kind of get people excited about what's going to be starting on December 9th, and hopefully come back and take a look at what happens in my first day in my generational farm. So I'll see you then.